Hey friends, welcome back. S'more here bringing you another Space Engineers Let's Build episode. In this series, we take vehicles from the Halo universe and we Space Engineer-ify them. And you know guys, we need some magnesium. But I don't really have a good mining ship yet. Or do I? Friends, please let me introduce to you the UNSC Wasp from Halo 5 with some space engineering modifications. So the Wasp is a get in, get out quick, fast striking VTOL aircraft. Now, I absolutely could have gone the VTOL script and much smaller profiled rotor for the Wasp, but I'm trying to do all of this with as little mods as necessary. And in fact, this vehicle here only has one, and it's just the tiered drilling units. So this here is the Wasp. And alongside the drilling units and the cute little chicken legs here, the rest of it is fairly accurate to Halo 5. Let's see, the only thing I didn't really do is a custom built canopy, but I thought that the fighter canopy would work well enough for this particular build. So let's take it out for a spin and let's see how she handles. So the first thing we're going to do, so let's get her turned on. Let's undo the parking brake, and then we want to unlock and then retract, and then there we go. So we're up in the air. Cute little feet are good. Let's do this, guys. So this being a mining ship, she has a ton of lift capability, and consequently when she's light, she moves pretty quickly. Sometimes a little too quickly if we aren't very careful. So guys, originally when I had built this Wasp build, I had actually used a laser drill, but it was too short, especially the small grid variant. And it just didn't work out real well. So here you can see we have silicone, magnesium, and uranium. Mining with it is a little tough. There are some limitations to the build, and we'll absolutely talk about them here as we get into it. Okay, so we want to approach our deposit of choice at about 45 degrees. So I think, let's see if we can't find that magnesium. There we go. All right, so we have the drill set to 1, and let's double check. We have clear and then collect. Excellent, both mapped nicely to the mouse. Let's do this, guys. So we are, there we go, already making a big impact. So as you can see that the Wasp has a narrow enough profile that just the clearing feature on the drill works just fine. And you can see that we are pooping out little bits of rocks and such. So let's see how it looks. So it looks like some of that was silicone. So let's slide over just a little bit. Yeah. And let's get to that magnesium. So you want to really be careful. I have two concerns about the build here. One of them is what you just saw. As soon as you start to get a little too listing one way or another, you start to lose control of it, and she gets away from you real quickly, so you really need to watch that. However, I have experienced that with most mining vessels. The other one is the fact that you just have to get your face, the nose, right in there. Here we are. This is perfect, guys. So now once you get in here, just use the swirl method. Let's back up just a little bit. And let's make sure that we are mostly right, there we go, with the deck, right where we need to be. Because she's going to work best when she is not crashing into everything. There we go. Now that sounded a lot worse than it was. A lot of that was just those ores all bouncing around. So let's swing over here and let's just open this up a little bit. As you can see, it opens up very nicely. Don't worry, all of the ends of the build that would collide, it's all heavy armor, which is one of the reasons why it's got a bajillion thrusters on it. And we are pointed down quite, like, this is a really steep angle. One that I really wouldn't recommend otherwise. It would be nice if there was a feature that made it so you stayed listless. You stayed right where you needed to be. I don't want to go like too crazy with the mining. with the clear feature, right? Because then we're going to accidentally remove and not collect most of the deposit. But the shallower of an approach angle you can maintain, the better your in-world planetary flying miner is going to work for you. And that's not just this build, that's kind of all builds. I worked on a UNSC Gremlin from Halo 1, but in the end I couldn't get the laser nor the rotors to work real well. Awesome. Well, all right, guys, so let's see. How did we do? 58K. Not too bad. Now, all of this should be getting kicked out if I've set it up correctly. Okay, so the connector is kicking out the stone. I'll have to evaluate that later. There we go. Should be able to come out just fine. Awesome. So this is where I tested the laser out, and it was terrible. It went so bad, I really kind of gave up on the Wasp for a little bit. But I'm glad I didn't, because it's nice having this tier drill on it. It's nice that it is this powerful. As you can see, we took a little bit of a beating, and everything, I believe, is still there. In fact, nothing's really even dented, and our connector continues to poop. But the connector is set to just throw away all. And then it must be filtering out stone, because it's not doing it to the other things. So what we'll do is the connector. Throw out. Let's toss that off for now. So alongside having to watch the list on it, you have to get right up in there, because I didn't want to ruin the aesthetic of the Wasp too much. You can see she's just loaded up with thrusters to give us the maximum amount of control. Lastly, she does not have a large ship ore detector. Alright, let's set her back down. Let's correct the list. Let's extend the chicken legs. That way we don't bust the connector up if we don't necessarily want to. Boom. Let's see, by icon number 8, you can see that we are locked. And we are good to go. We can hit the parking brake. Power down. So guys, this has been the UNSC Halo 5 Wasp, complete with just a tremendous amount of thrusters, because I decided to use it as a mining vehicle. There are other Wasp builds already up in the Steam workshop that are much more true to form. They use the VTOL mechanism and script and everything. They're a little bit smaller than this, but you know, you fight with them, but that's about it. This gives you a tremendous amount of utility in this. You could even just disassemble the drill, slap some guns on the front here, and this thing would be ridiculously maneuverable. Let's go over how it's constructed. It's really just a fighter canopy. Let's see, then a medium cargo container and a large conveyor elbow down to a connector. This is the only mod. It's a small drill tier 1. And then these are supposed to be conveyors and ejectors. I need to work on those to make sure that I get those actually working correctly. You can see she has just a ton of atmospheric thrusters. This whole front end is all heavy armor block, as is the tail, including where it gets really thin, because the last thing you want is this tail to separate. She features 3 large atmospheric thrusters, and then the large nuclear reactor there. And then she has the ore detector tucked up under that wing there, and then gyros tucked up under this one here. And guys, I think that's really about it. Like I said, you could take a look at the Greebling if you like. The Greebling wasn't too bad. A lot of it was just trying to figure out where to shoehorn in thrusters that wouldn't disrupt the build of the body too much. There's some potential to put another drill up here. That would be an option. I tried using a camera and an interior light for some lighting. Instead, I decided to always be mining in third person as much as I could, and then I just tucked some spotlights down here because I figured they'd be pretty safe given that the drill removes such a wide area of material. And let's see, I built this starting with the cockpit and making the spine going aft, designed the tail, loaded it up with thrusters, and then a lot of thruster trial and error. This is kind of the minimum amount of thrusters that I would approach a build like this with. Very resource intensive compared to something like Splitsy's Ugly Duckling, which is literally a cockpit, a drill arm underneath of it, a connector behind it, 2 or 3 batteries all over it, and then just loading that thing up with small atmospheric thrusters. It has a much smaller profile. It's much more efficient use of resources, but it's not a Space Engineer-ify the Halo UNSC build. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed the Wasp, and I look forward to bringing you guys back for the next build. We're going to need something to defend ourselves with, after all, once the pirates come. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.